श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सेवेंथ मंत्र। नान्तःप्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नोभयतः प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञम् अदृष्टम् अव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यमलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेश्यम् एकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवमद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः। So sa atma sa vigneyaha. This is how atma should be known. So na bahishprajnaha, na antaprajnaha, na ganaprajnaha. I am not a waker, I am not a dreamer, I am not a deep sleeper, etc. This ahankara basically is this ahankaratma viveka only. So ahankara basically is superimposed upon I, and this is a proximity of the ahankara, and therefore it is superimposed. It's an antakarana. Atma wears a costume of a totally conscious mind, and then it is a half conscious, etc., in a deep dream state, etc., and it becomes unconscious. It resolves into Atma in the deep sleep state, etc. So therefore it is superimposed, and what is superimposed, it doesn't have any substantiality, yet ahankara enjoys substantiality. Well, due to consciousness is substance actually, but ahankara enjoys substantiality. Like a rope is a substance, but snake enjoys the substantiality, that kind of a thing. So consciousness is a substance, and matter is basically an attribute, incidental attribute for us, not intrinsic attribute. I am going to discuss that particular paksha also today. So consciousness is a substance, matter is not a substance. So scientists of course say matter is a substance and consciousness is a property, attribute. Yeah, that's a big difference between us. And matter is a substance, of course, but there also they have analyzed, and now they say matter is also not a substance. Energy is a substance. In fact, the energy in a motion is a matter, they call it. Anyway, so this limitless I, which is a substance, which is reality, which is satyam, well, alone appears as the secondary I, as a Vishwa, Tejasa, Prajna, etc. And of course they undergo a change, and therefore they arrive, and the two things are there. They undergo a change. So that is a vikaritvam, and they also come and go. That's anityatvam. These two are little different things. So both the things are there. So, and this particular Jiva Bhava, etc., I am Jiva, etc., the superimposition of this Vishwa Tejasa Prajna, etc., on consciousness is Anadi. Because Ajnanam also is Anadi, therefore the superimposition is Anadi. And still it can go away, we have discussed that. And so I can own up I am original consciousness, etc., who is not limited by this body, mind, sense complex. And this ahankara has many shades. So as a Bahish Prajna, so it has a total identification with the three bodies. And so it covers all the three upadhis and says it identifies with the three upadhis, and say superimposition is it's a consciousness only identifies with this mithya three bodies, and say I am a Vishwa, and it identifies with the two bodies, subtle body and causal body, says I am a dreamer. Just identify with the causal body, and then it is a deep sleeper. In fact, it doesn't have it is free from all the three. It pervades all. It pervades every body. It sustains every body. The way it pervades physical body. It pervades even absence of physical body. Yeah. So basically, I am not a physical body and pervading consciousness in that. No, I am consciousness or awareness pervading physical body. And how can you say that? Because I am consciousness pervading the absence of body. In the absence of the body, I am very much there. And same way I am consciousness pervading every thought of the body. I am consciousness pervading the absence of the thought, the very silence in the body. So what obtains in the silence of the thought, is the consciousness. Right? What obtains in silence is a consciousness. Because silence also shines in that consciousness. Anyway, so this is how this is how it keeps changing. So we have to this ahankara basically has a plurality. Identification has a plurality. It also travels from body to body, ahankara only, and consciousness, of course, has no plurality. It doesn't travel anywhere. It is one limitless consciousness. So we use our intellect, we use our ahankara to own up. We use the very waker to own up this. So, and when you own up this nature, ahankara is not included. Even though you use ahankara to own up, right? When you say aham brahmasmi, definitely that aham, he is a Jagrat Purusha. In a waking state, you say. So basically, even though you use ahankara, pramata, naturally, the knower only wields a pramana. Pramata gains a prama using a pramana. So then pramata basically, which is when he says I am aham brahmasmi, definitely is a waker there. But when he says aham brahmasmi, he doesn't include pramata. Like when some person says, well, I am very happy. So, well, he says I am very happy, he uses his mouth. But in the I, which is happy, mouth is not included. Okay? He doesn't say, well, my mouth is also equally happy. Along with my mouth, my mind is happy. No. He refers only to the mind. Right? Even though he is saying I am happy, he is using a speech, but he doesn't include. So same way here, I am consciousness to say that I use a ahankara, the Vishwa alone. But in that the I, in the I which you claim as a Brahman, aham brahmasmi, etc., that intellect or ahankara is not included. So that is called basically, sometimes they say even Vijnanamaya. Either you say Vijnanamaya, either you say ahankara, either you say pramata, it's the same thing. Anyway, so that is how we call, even though he says aham brahmasmi, And the Waker says Aham Brahmasmi, then therefore Waker is there as I, but still not included. That's how we say this is a implied meaning of Aham. Vachyartha of the Aham is a Jagrat Purusha, but the implied meaning of Aham is a Lakshyartha. So Jagrat Purusha basically understands him as a Brahman, as the implied meaning of the Aham. So it's a mixture, Ahankara Chaitanya mixture, and I use Ahankara basically for claiming this fact, but that superimposed Jiva Bhava is disclaimed with the help due to Viveka between Ahankara and Atma. So, and this is called, we call it as a, and this is how the Jiva Bhava, even though then continues to be superimposed upon me, means all the attributes, the Dharma Adhyasa, Samsarga Adhyasa and Dharmi Adhyasa will continue. The gross body also will definitely remain, being a non-separate, it will remain in consciousness, but it becomes mithya for you. The Ahankara becomes mithya. So Vishwa becomes mithya. Same way Prajna and Tejasa also becomes mithya. That's how we give an example of a crystal, So when there is a crystal and you place a upadhi called any flower etc. nearby, then definitely there will be a color of the flower seen in the crystal. It looks like that the color of the crystal is superimposed upon the color of the flower is superimposed upon the crystal. So, but you, while seeing even a red crystal, suppose a red flower, seeing a red crystal, still you basically take a crystal as a colorless, right? If you take the crystal as a colorless while experiencing the crystal, red crystal, your understanding is crystal clear. Okay? So that is what it is. So that if you take it as a red crystal, then definitely your understanding is shrouded, So same way, even after understanding I am just pure consciousness and nothing else, we call it as a witness consciousness. I will discuss that. It's just a witness consciousness, which is called Turiya here. Still all this, the body and its dharma will continue to appear as a I here, right? So the gross body, the subtle body, even a causal body, etc. So all the three states still continue, and you will still may say I am a Vishwa, I am a waker, etc., or I am a eater, hearer, talker, etc. You may say, but definitely you take yourself as a crystal clear, pure consciousness, understanding that experience, well, that I am so and so, etc., individual, is mithya. So this is what it is, and that is called samyak jnanam. So basically, samyak jnanam means you understand the shastra. So you take the words of the shastra and also apply your mind and apply intellect, logic, reasoning, and both together will ultimately give you a clarity in the knowledge. So they give a very beautiful example which I would like to share with you, that when I want to look at my face, eyes are useless, and because with the help of eyes I can never see the face. If I am a astika, I say eyes are not enough. I require what? Mirror also. So, and I don't feel bad to use mirror. But if I say mirror alone is a sufficient, it is not correct. So either of them without the other is useless in seeing your face. Only mirror, eyes are not there, useless. Eyes are there, mirror is not there, useless to see the face. You can't see. That's how very beautiful verse also is there. Yasya nasti swayam prajna shastram tasya karoti kim lochanabhyam vihinasya darpana kim karishyati. So, yasya nasti swayam prajna shastram tasya karoti kim. Shastra is there, pramana is there, teaching is there, but if one doesn't have enough reasoning power to understand the teaching, then it won't help. So, lochanabhyam vihinasya, one who doesn't have eyes, well, darpana kim karishyati. Shastra is a darpana, showing your face, right? Who you are. But at the same time, what you need is your reasoning power called eyes. And therefore, both are required. If both are there, both you utilize, then you will be able to see yourself very clearly. That's called clarity in knowledge. That's called samyak jnanam. And a very basic question will be, how can you say that, well, I is ultimately this pure consciousness, or I indicate consciousness? How can you say that? You are saying all this, I am not Vishwa, I am not that, I am not that. But my basic question is, how do you connect this I with the consciousness? Our basic question after so many Mandukya classes, maybe 70, 71 classes, I think. This is question now. So, well, because conscious being only uses the word I or equivalent to I. Human beings use I, others don't use, but whatever the language they have. So, because conscious being can use the word I, this clip etc. or the pen etc. cannot say I am clip or I am pen. So I thought, therefore, if I use the word I, there must be a corresponding thought, and that is a I thought, and that I thought can arise only in a conscious being. So that there is something which is plus here, which generates a I thought, which is not here. What is that? Subtle body. Therefore, okay, then subtle body is there. Then subtle body generates I thought. Subtle body generates I thought provided condition in presence of consciousness. Well, because of the consciousness, mind appears conscious along with the Chidavasa. In that, well, a aham vritti arises covering the entire mind. The object of the aham vritti is the whole mind, right? And therefore, ultimately, it is consciousness along with the I thought, right? Consciousness along with the mind, whole mind, will have this I thought. So ultimately, I indicate consciousness, which is not here. There is no subtle body. So even though consciousness pervades this thing, there is no aham vritti, because the subtle body is not there. And if subtle body is there, automatically there will be a reflection of the consciousness, and there will be immediately a I thought. So I reveal basically a consciousness, chit, and of course M means reveals a sat, and therefore I am basically is intrinsic. Balyadishvapi jagradadishu tatha sarvasu avasthasu api. Right? Vyavruttasu anuvartamanam aham iti atyantam spurantam sada. I am, either you are a child, either you are a young, etc., young adult, etc. Well, I am is intrinsic. What you add later is a incidental. So after falsification of that addition, well, I am as a satyam, still it is there. Addition is a mithya. That much you understand. Satya mithya viveka, atmanatma viveka, atma ahankara viveka. Right? I am Vishwa, I am saying, I am Tejas, I am Prajna. Now after learning Mandukya, well, you say I am is intrinsic and Vishwa, Tejas, Prajna are incidental. So it's simply a job. It's not a physical job of separation. It is in terms of knowing. Like even while seeing movie, well, I separate the characters from the screen and understand. While the seeing itself, screen is ever free from all characters. I need not stop the movie. Well, I need not change the screen. Only change is required in my buddhi while seeing the film. You don't change the movie, or you don't change the screen. You don't change even, you don't tell the stop the movie, I want to see the screen. No. Even while seeing the characters, you basically, in your cognition, in your understanding, there is a screen. If it is, if you have not identified with a given character, then due to ragadvesha, if you identify with a given name and form, then you will miss the very basis of that character, right? That is the screen. And therefore, and this is how you understand here that even though I become a Vishwa Tejas Prajna, really speaking, they are like characters. I play different characters, play different roles through different upadhis, different costumes. Well, I am basically just pure consciousness which is ever free, which is ever changeless consciousness. Like the screen is ever free from either a dust, a storm, or either a smoke, or either a rain, etc. Screen is ever free. You don't put any extra effort to rub the screen. You know it is free, even though all of the things are happening non-separate from the screen, but yet the screen is ever free from all this. So you are like a screen. Puja Swami used to say, how is consciousness? He says it is like a screen. In one of the book, he said, it is like a screen. All the things are happening on its surface. Happens on its surface, remaining non-separate, they emerge, right? And they resolve in consciousness. What is that? Avyaktat vyaktaya sarvaha prabhavanti haragame ratragame praliyante tatraiva avyakta sanyake. All this is happening either in the form of a jagat, either in the form of a maya. It remains always non-separate from consciousness. So Vishwa Tejas Prajna are mithya. So other than knowledge, of course, this Viveka Jnanam, you don't require anything else. It's like they say, in order to remove darkness, well, you may buy oil, you may buy a candle, you may buy even a matchbox, in order to, and for buying a matchbox, you may earn money also, suppose, buying matchbox, candle, etc., you may earn money. And even you striking also you do. Nothing can remove darkness. Well, so basically, what removes darkness is just that flame alone. Nothing. Other than that, all is called preparation. This is called preparation. Same way here. This Viveka Jnanam alone removes this ignorance and this adhyasa, that are Vekar, etc. Therefore, Nanta Prajnam, the Maish Prajnam, etc. So, preparation is very much required. In fact, preparation takes more time. Buying and everything, right? After striking, when the fire manifest, or the flame manifest, well, that doesn't take much time to remove the darkness. So here also preparation requires a lot of time. Anyway, now I will give you in short a few points by which you can do this Ahankara Atma Viveka, Vishwa Atma, Vishwa Turiya Viveka, Prajna Turiya Viveka, or a Tejasa Turiya Viveka. I am not going in other that Upayata Prajnam, etc. You have to consider it. Ultimately, it is all due to Upadhi, that we know. Anyway, and regarding Ishvara, etc., I have to cover. I know it is in my mind. Don't worry about it. How the Turiya is basically is Brahman. We will have to see that. That part I am keeping it. But before that, I would like to cover this Ahankara Atma Viveka with a certain Purva Paksha, which is not there, of course, in Mandukya. You may think that this maybe I am going out of the syllabus, but I want to make it more focused and more clear. What is Ahankara and what is Atma? Because both have the I sense, right? I not I sense, but both we refer by the word I. And in Vyavahara also we refer both, but one we don't know because of the identification with the other. That we'll discuss. Anyway, so more points regarding this Ahankara Atma Viveka, which I said that's called Samyak Jnanam. First is a Ahankara undergoes a change, continues, in a waking state itself. Waker undergoes a change and become dreamer, that's a different thing. Atma alone then becomes a dreamer, etc. That's a different thing. But right now, just in the waking state itself, let's take it continuously changing. So definitely there must be a there must be a atma which is witnessing these changes of ahankara. Like when you see a moving train, well, you are, and then definitely you are a stationary. If you are also in a moving train or a vehicle and the train also is moving, let's say at a same speed, then in that case you can't appreciate the movement of the train. If you are able to appreciate the movement of the train because you are just standing, you are stationary, then you are able to appreciate. Same way, if you are able to appreciate the very changes in the ahankara called shrota, this and that, etc., all, during waking state, all you are able to karta, bhokta, etc., well, there must be a witness who is free from change. And that is Atma, which is free from change. So I am changeless Sakshi. I witness. Sakshi means Sakshat Ikshate. I witness the changes of Ahankara, changes of mind. Continuous changes. Continuous. Aham idam both. That's how I told you in the last class, whole mind. I am witness of the whole mind. And witness, Sakshi means what? Sakshat Ikshate. Therefore, I witness directly. I don't need any pramana. I witness directly this. Because I am a self-effulgent principle. Self-evident principle, consciousness. And therefore, in presence of me, well, the whole changes of the ahankara, well, will be illumined. So, this is a big difference here. And that is, I am a changeless Sakshi. Ahankara is a changing, undergoes a change. That's the one, first. Second is, ahankara is a product of elements, either subtle. Sometimes you cover ahankara in this also. I told you ahankara can be referred as I am body, ahankara. I am I am hungry and thirsty, ahankara. I I have a circulation problem, this, that, etc. I have a good digestive power, etc. All this is ahankara only. With a given upadhi, you identify, that's it. Or you say, well, they are superimposed and their dharmas also, various dharmas, attributes of that upadhi also are superimposed, etc. So anyway, so this is all ahankara. But here, ahankara is a product of or let's say mind. Right now we are talking about ahankara is a product of five elements, subtle elements. Scientifically also, the brain, they call it as a jadavastu. It cannot have a sentiency of its own. They don't believe, of course, more than a brain called subtle mind and all that. They don't believe. But anyway, so they consider brain also is a jadavastu only. It's a matter only. It cannot have a sentiency. We say, well, mind here, of course, and the mind is basically a jadavastu. So this is there. Then the third is a ahankara and consciousness. Atma is, or Sakshi is Chaitanya, pure consciousness. So it's a big difference between them. Viveka. And then ahankara is a limited entity. Ahankara is limited location-wise. Ahankara is limited time-wise. Ahankara is limited attribute-wise. Because identification with the upadhi. So, and upadhi is limited in time, in place, and it limited in certain attributes. I don't have attributes of this, right? I have certain attributes. I don't have attributes of this. I don't have attributes of this, right? Therefore, vastu paricheda. Ahankara is parichinna. And that's how you have a sense. When you say, I am right now in the ashram, and this is the time now. Even when you say, this is the time now, you are indicating yourself as ahankara. Anyway, so basically, when the ahankara is absent, you are not able to appreciate time, place, and any attributes in a deep sleep state. Anyway, whereas Atma, the consciousness, is limitless. So, Shastra says Nitya Sarvagata Sthanu, etc., etc. So, and as such, Vitpatti also of Atma is basically Apnoti iti Atma, Sarvam Apnoti, Vyapnoti iti Atma. So Atma is limitless, the witness consciousness is limitless, whereas the Ahankara is limited in terms of time, place and attributes. But, and now the question arises, of course, perhaps may have done it before, but if I am limited, right now as Ahankara, I am limited, is my experience. Now, deep sleep state also, in which you have an experience that is free from all this time, space, and time wise or space wise or a place wise or a attribute wise limitations are not there. So there, in a deep sleep state, you experience yourself as a limitless. Here, right now, you experience yourself as a limited. I am limited. I am limitless. What is true? What is true? In fact, I am limited being, individual being as a waker. I am a limited being, individual being as a dreamer also. Because in a dream body, I identify with the dream body and experience dream world. So, in fact, in two states, I feel I am limited. In a one state, I feel I am limitless. Therefore, if we go by a rule of majority, then maybe I am limited is a true, it's a fact. Well, no, that's not fact. Shankaracharya explained in Taittiriya Bhashyam this. While explaining Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, and he was, giving a commentary on that, there he explained this, that whatever is natural, whatever you accept naturally, whatever you accept without resistance, well, that is whatever you gain without efforts, all true. Whatever you gain without efforts, whatever you experience, whatever is natural for you, or whatever is naturally accepted by you, where there is no resistance, well, that is your natural state. You accept naturally, therefore it is your nature. And an example is given. Like if you want a ice water, you have to put an effort. You want a hot water, you have to put an effort. But if you just want a water, which is at it is natural temperature, right? You don't need any effort. To make ice water, to make a hot water, you have to put an effort. But to just get a water in a natural state, and what is that? Coolness is there, not cold as such. That cool water, which is in a natural state, there you don't put any effort. So that's a natural state where you don't put any efforts. Then he says, well, you drop all efforts, and what you get naturally, that is called sleep. Yeah, that's called sleep. So when I drop them, all efforts, well, I get natural state, and that natural state is I am limitless. So that's effortless. And that too, that state I accept without resistance. I naturally accept. Whereas a waking state, I don't accept. The characteristic of a waking state is that I have a full of self non-acceptance. Therefore, I am limited being. Is not true. Therefore, na antak pragnam, na bahish pragnam, na ubhayatak pragnam, etc. So, this is a third argument. Okay. Fourth, for Atma, Ahankara Viveka. Very crucial. This is the crucial. These are the discussions which are very useful for contemplation. Fourth is a Drishyatvat argument. That is very, very common. And the Ahankara is a Drishya for you. So, see that. Like, they give you an example that suppose someone says that there is an elephant behind your back. There is an elephant behind your back. Well, will I say yes or no? Well, any answer if you want to give, before that, you have to look back. Am I right? Whether the elephant is present or absent behind my back, to ascertain that, to ascertain the presence or absence of an elephant, to ascertain the existence and non-existence of an elephant behind the back, what is to be done? I have to look back. Sakshat ikshate, right? Sakshat ikshate. So same way here, ahankara also is like elephant. Presence of ahankara and absence of ahankara, which is nothing but all the three states. In two states, ahankara is present. In the third state, ahankara is absent. All that, ahankara is like a elephant. To experience the presence of ahankara or absence of ahankara, well, what you need is sakshi, sakshat ikshate. I have to see that. Yeah. No, Swamiji, you need not see. Just you don't use your common sense, Swami. How can an elephant enter from your door? And how can an elephant be there in your ashram? You have to simply say no. Even if you do want to do inference, it's in fact indirect knowledge. It is not as powerful as direct knowledge. Direct knowledge literally it makes it confirm. If I told you this, that PC Sarkar, yeah, in Hyderabad, I saw that a elephant in the hall. Everybody got up and some people have started screaming also. Wow, wow. So he made it appear. Nobody thought that how can an elephant enter in that? And the doors are also closed of the hall. Anyway, my point is sakshat ikshanam, direct experience. Ahankara is directly experienced. Two states. The changes of the ahankara is directly experienced. Right now you know that you are aware that you are a hearer now. Then if you are doing something else, you are aware that you are a runner now. You are aware that you are a eater now. You are aware that you are a writer now. You are aware that you are a talker now. So that shows that talker, etc., is directly aware. Directly you know. Without any intervention of any means of knowledge, you don't require it also, being self-effulgent principle, self-evident principle. Well, therefore, definitely, this ahankara is drishyam. And the very drishta of the ahankara is a sakshi. In fact, you are consciousness. You are just consciousness. With respect to ahankara, a status is given to you called witness of ahankara. That's called saksham. I am sakshi. Really speaking, I am not even a sakshi. I am a ever present, self-evident, self-existent consciousness principle. Everything, all body, mind, senses, everything is non-separate from me. Identifying with this, the various states arises, like Vishwa Tejasa Prajna, all are Nitya. And the change is also definitely I am aware of. And fifth is subject to arrival and departure. Changes also you are witnessing, you are witness of the changes. At the same time, you are witness of even arrival and departure of ahankara. That's the difference as I was talking to you. Vikari and Vyabhichari or Anityam is the difference between the Vikari and Anitya is this. In a given state also the changes occur. Means during the presence of ahankara, changes are occurring like in a waking, etc. That's called vikaritvam. An arrival and departure of the Atma, ahankara, reveals ahankara is anitya. But I basically illumine the absence of ahankara, and I also illumine the presence of ahankara and the changes. So, I am the witness of all the three states of experience. External world comes and goes, internal world comes and goes. Consciousness never come, never goes. Never comes, never goes. So na udeti, nastameti, drugdusha viveka. So non-arriving, non-departing witness of all arriving, departing ahankara. Right? All are arriving, departing things, including space and time. So I am even a witness of a waking time and waking place, waking space, and all waking objects. Same way dream space and etc. In Sushupti, well, they are not there. That's also my own experience. When time and space are also not there. Others may tell, right? Others may tell you that you are sleeping at that time or at a particular time in a particular room. Time, place is there for that waking person who can tell. But for you, the sleeper, well, he is not aware of time and space. So he exists, right? That this Atma exists in absence of even time and space. So witness consciousness basically is beyond time and space. So that's how it's called nirvikara. Whatever is within space, within time, undergoes a change. In fact, time is always understood only in terms of the rate of change of an object. A given thing changes, then you understand it in terms of time. You say now it has become old or it is new, it is undergoing a change, etc. So all this, the time you always measure, time you understand only in terms of the rate of the change of an object, or time you measure when a given object moves from one place to the other place, like movement of the sun, movement of the earth, right, brings time. Movement of the sun brings time. Movement of the moon brings time. So any object when moves from one place to other place, you note the time, or a given object even at this place undergoes a change. Then you say, then you understand. I mean, you understand the time in that So time is basically, that's how you witness. Time is a object of a witness consciousness. We always say space also is like that. So anything which is within space and time definitely undergoes change. If I am the Atma which definitely can exist in absence of time and space, which is revealed by deep sleep experience, then definitely I am free from any change. Therefore, ahankara is a vikari. I am a nirvikara, changeless consciousness. And well, if I am spaceless, timeless, definitely then I am limitless. This is an extension. We have to prove it ultimately that Turiya is Brahman, that I know very well. But if I exist in absence of space, I can understand. Therefore, specially, S-P-A-T-I-A-L-L-Y, I am specially limitless. What exists in time, exists in space, and it undergoes change. If I exist in absence of time and space, well, definitely, I am a self-existing principle. I don't exist in time. I don't exist in space. And, well, definitely I am, if I exist in absence of space, I don't have a particular form also. Anything which exists in space has a form, big, small, whatever. And therefore I am limitless consciousness. This is a way we can say. So, definitely, and that limitless consciousness manifest in the experience of joy. In a moment of joy, you drop the smallness, or you drop your identification with ahankara. That's the only thing happens. That you drop even in a deep sleep state, because ahankara becomes absent, dissolves. You are very much present as a satya vastu. You are very much present. Ahankara is non-separate from you, dissolves, goes to unmanifest state. Right? Ahankara goes to its cause, you can say, ajnanam. So therefore ahankara is identified with the ahankara is identified with the jnanam, but you are basically one who exists in absence of ahankara. So basically that ahankara gets dropped, your identification gets dropped there. That's how you feel that you don't have any boundaries. Same in a waking state. Well, you take yourself as ahankara and feeling small, having a lack, etc. And that due to some experience, you are able to drop it. Either you get a desired object or else different thing. Anything can happen. Even a joke also can make you happy. So anyway, so that proves that the witness consciousness is basically Ananda. So whenever I am Dukhi, this is where our concern is. I am Turiya is not. Because our Purushartha is for Ananda actually. And that is, this conviction should occur in my mind. That what I really want in my life is nothing but myself. Means I should know myself properly. Then my goal will be completed. So when I'm dukhi, sorrowful, etc., we have got an idea that I lack something. I'm lacking is an intellectual conclusion which brings a particular emotion in the mind, and that is sorrow. That is called sorrow. Sorrow arises, the emotion arises. The seat of emotion is a mind. But any emotion arises before that there is a particular conclusion also, which is there in intellect. Therefore, if this conclusion is there due to ignorance and adhyasa, that I am lacking, I am a small person, I am small being, I am lacking, I am limited being, well, definitely the sorrow also arises. And this I am lacking is in a, for that there are hundreds of reasons. Hundreds of reasons. So I don't have something which I like. That could be one reason. Or there are people, Swamiji, around me, but they don't love me. Lacking. Or Swamiji, I have a very good partner in my life, and there is a lot of love, but we don't have money. No, Swamiji, we have money also, and we are searching a very good house we have not yet got. That also. Lacking. All the way lacking. Now we have a good house, good money, everything, Swamiji, we both are also loving each other, but we don't have children. Lacking. Now, Swamiji, we have children, but they are not obedient. No, Swamiji, they are obedient, but they are weak in studies, Swamiji. What should I do? It's an endless game. I am lacking to make this conclusion. Thousands of things are there, but the basic thing is I am this. I am mind, I am senses, I am body, etc. Ahankara. So I identify with the ahankara, and then definitely this kind of conclusion, a common conclusion arises, I am lacking, which brings a sorrow. Anyway, so ultimately to understand I am Purna, I am free from the very fact of limitations of time, space and vastu, attributes, then definitely I will understand that I am Brahman. So all these changing objects are witnessed by oneself. Even the absence of all of them, either in a sushupti, either in a samadhi, either in a coma, absence of all of them are also witnessed. You may not be able to talk. To talk, ahankara should be there. For that, the mind should be awake. Due to some injury in the brain, the mind is not functioning. Therefore, you are not able to appreciate. Of course, sushupti is a very natural state where mind resolves, ahankara resolves. That's a one thing. But, or in a samadhi, voluntarily you have resolved all the thoughts, including very I thought. Ahankara also is subdued totally. That's how you have no aham or idam, etc. All vikalpas also you have subsided very voluntarily, willfully, etc. And well, in samadhi also you will not be able to appreciate. I mean, you unless you come out, you will not be able to tell that well, I am a witness of all the absence, all the thoughts also. And murcha, of course, in a comma you are not able to say. So, even a person experiences a thoughtless state in a samadhi, etc., or thoughtless state kind of a thing in a deep sleep state, or in a murcha also, of course, thoughts may not be there. So, in that case, well, you may not be able to say that at time, but you still, you are you are a witness to all this absence of all the objects, and that witness consciousness, which is the experiencer of the presence and absence of a ahankara. Now that's a crucial thing. That experiencer is never experienced. That experiencer can never be an object of experience. Well, because if consciousness is an object of experience, and I am a experiencer of a consciousness, because I want to experience consciousness, and so in consciousness is an object of experience, then conscious being an object of experience, it will come and it will go. Like any object in the world, presence and absence, I just told you, right? Presence of the world, absence of the world, presence of ahankara, absence of ahankara, presence of memory, absence of memory. Same way, well, the way I experience different objects of the world, they come and go, right? We saw also, we call anitya, arriving and departing. So same way you want to experience consciousness, in that case consciousness will come and consciousness will go. But imagine consciousness will go away. Just think, how can I experience the absence of consciousness? How can I experience? Not possible, because consciousness, to experience the absence of consciousness, you need consciousness. So how will that kind of a situation arises? You want to experience the absence of consciousness by consciousness. Well, that will never be possible. So consciousness is ever experiencer, never the experienced. And so unexperienced experiencer or unobjectifiable subject or unnegatable negator is witness consciousness, sakshi. And your job is not to come across sakshi. I want to experience sakshi means I want to come across sakshi. So your job is not to come across sakshi. Your job is you are sakshi, which you have to own up by dropping identification with ahankara, which is a product of a self-ignorance. And therefore, sakshi is ever present. Briefly experience sakshi is not our aim. If our aim is to briefly experience the sakshi, again it will become an object of experience, and again it becomes a arriving and departing. But sakshi is really speaking naudeti nastameti. It never arrives, never goes. It is in the form of I, which you have to own it up just by dropping the notion that I am ahankara. Therefore, na bahish prajnam, no antah prajnam, na prajnanagana, and other things also. So own up the sakshi, that is yourself, with the help of ahankara. But you don't include ahankara when you say I am sakshi or Brahman, aham brahmasmi. So we can't own up the sakshi in any other state other than waking state. Ahankara should be there, fully awake, which can explore the pramana, which can expose itself to the teaching, and using that ahankara, one should claim that I am not really ahankara, but I am the very basis, the truth of ahankara. Since Atma is present in ahankara fully, well, you can understand the mithyatma of the ahankara. It's not that ahankara, the Atma is, is buried under this ahankara. No. Atma is very much present, immanent in ahankara, but very non-separate from the Atma. Well, not knowing who am I identify with what is so close, what is non-separate from myself. That I have to drop that notion. And That dropping the notion is called negation, understanding mithyatva. So you can't own it up. I am sakshi, etc. in a samadhi. Even though you may say I only was there, nothing else was there, etc. You may say that kind of a nirvikal samadhi experience may be there, but you will not be able to appreciate that. And once you wake up, since ignorance is there, you will again say I am a waker. That's how you again want to go back to that state. Really speaking, you need not to go to that state. You are ever free, ahankara, or you are ever free, atma. And since atma is never experienced, don't say that it is a matter of a belief. Just because a heaven is never experienced, we say it is a matter of belief. Same way atma is never experienced, therefore it is a matter of belief. It's not. One is a nitya paroksha vastu. Since being a nitya paroksha vastu, you will never be able to experience as a human being heaven. But this is a nitya aparoksha vastu, which is ever evident, because of which everything becomes evident to the self. And therefore, it is ever evident. The only thing is you have to appreciate it. Including heaven, everything becomes evident to the self. That self, the Atma, the witness consciousness is basically Nitya Parokshvattu, which is immediate. And therefore, you don't need any evidence for the existence of Atma, etc. Your existence is self-proven, right? You don't need any proof, any pramana to prove your existence. So, experience is of course required to prove the existence of Anatma. Experience is not required to prove the existence of Atma, being self-existent. So, we experience consciousness all the time, but we take it as a property of the body or mind or etc. And that's how you say, I am a conscious being. I am a conscious being. This is an inert thing, etc. Like that, you make a difference. The difference between the two, you make it by saying like this, that I am a conscious being and it is an inert being or inert thing. May not say the being, but you may say thing. Well, so conscious and inert. I am a being, you may say here, let's say being for time being. This is an inert being. I am a conscious being. Being means it has existence. Existent thing is called being. Anyway, so I am a conscious being, it is inert being. Means you think that the consciousness is a property of this body. That such a consciousness, sentiency is not there in this. If sentiency is there, it will immediately say, why are you touching me, right? Oh Swami, why are you touching me? But it doesn't say. Therefore, it is an inert thing. And here if you touch, well, I may have, if you touch me, I will say, why are you touching me? Because there is a sentiency in the body, consciousness in the body. So you may take it as a property. But it's not a property, it is a substance. Ahankara is a property. The body is a property. Incidental attribute. Everything in the world is an incidental attribute. Arises and goes from consciousness. Yatova imani bhutani jayante, etc. Anyway, so this is up to this we'll keep, and next time we'll see something little more. Some Purvapaksha Vishishtadvaitin raises a question that when, suppose if Ahankara goes away like this, who experiences moksha? Brahman will not. He said just Brahman is there, Ahankara will go away. So if Ahankara goes away, who will say I am free? Therefore we won't accept. The Ahankara is mithya, incidental. No. Ahankara should be there. And it should be intrinsic property of the Atma, etc. We'll see that. That Purvapaksha is there. Very powerful Paksha is there. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.